Dear managers, the task of collecting the golden boughs is no simple undertaking. To aid you, the company has provided a group of sinners, characters bound by contract to accompany you on this journey. Their abilities are essential for completing your mission. Understanding each sinner and guiding them on the right path is crucial to your success. To assist you with this, let's analyze the sinners, their origins, and perhaps uncover the path they need to follow to acquire what they long for. Today, I will introduce you to LCB Sinner 5, codename Soleil.
메르소, 그렇게 불러주시겠습니까, 관리자님?
Like the other sinners, Meursault's past and the conditions of his contract are shrouded in mystery. But unlike the other sinners, where we can glimpse their past from the company's website, we have no information about Meursault whatsoever. In the beginning of your journey, Meursault could be described as stoic, cold, and calculated. A man of few words who follows company rules with stern precision.
정해진 시간에 기상하는 것은 사칙에 명시된 내용입니다. 관리자님을 포함한 대다수의 수감자들은 이 사실을 모르는 것 같군요. 교정대로 부탁드리겠습니다.
An order from the executive manager will not be ignored and is executed flawlessly.
교정에 따라 실행합니다. 베르길리우스, 그자가 내놓은 취업 규칙에도
During the sinner's journey through the Inferno, glimpses of Meursault's past emerge, having worked for an unspecified amount of time in N.Corp before, as seen by the N.Corp logo and the giant nagel and hammer symbol on his character image. Meursault shows some knowledge regarding the Inquisitors in Canto 3.
아까부터 들었던 생각인데 왜 그렇게 N사에 대해 빠삭한 거야 당신?
내가 N사 직원이었으니까 못과 망치, 경험이야말로 가장 중요한 가치란 말하는 날개.
Besides his dealings with N.Corp, a mention of his mother also appears in Intervallo 3, where he remarks that Otis scolding Don reminded him of her. Nevertheless, there is not much to uncover about Meursault. To understand someone who barely speaks of his past, or at all, one must consider the origins of a character so devoid of emotions as Meursault. Meursault is based on the same named character of the French novel from the author Albert Camus, Stranger. Book Meursault is a straightforward, logical individual who rarely cares for the concepts of emotion or relations. The book itself has been analyzed by many people for its themes, and for Meursault's character in general, who have a higher understanding of literature than I do. Nevertheless, based on the events of the book, I would like to compare both Meursaults to understand Project Moon's direction and maybe get a better understanding from Meursault's journey, his goal, and his past, which we might experience in his Canto. The novel is divided into two parts, guiding us through the journey of a man whose personality is denied and misunderstood by society, leading him to the realization that life, for an individual, ultimately lacks inherent meaning. The book begins with Meursault receiving a letter from a nursing home, informing him of his mother's death. Although Meursault is aware of the significance of this event, he exhibits striking indifference. He attends the funeral, but not because of personal desire, but because it is expected of him. His stoic and detached behavior during the ceremony is highlighted by his discomfort with the heat of the sun, an important leitmotif throughout the entire novel, which he finds more bothersome than his mother's death. This lack of visible emotion alienates the mourners, making him seem soulless or inhuman. As the story progresses, Meursault begins a relationship with a young woman named Marie, with whom he spends most of his free time with, and slowly grows a physical relation, but with emotional detachment. Meursault also becomes acquainted with his neighbor Raymond, who has relationship problems with the woman who allegedly cheated on him. Meursault helps Raymond execute a plan for revenge, which leads to further complications. Raymond's actions provoke the woman's brother, who seeks revenge. By the end of part 1, during a trip to the beach, Meursault and Raymond encounter the brother. Once again overwhelmed by the heat of the sun, Meursault's ability to think clearly is clouded. With the sun playing another pivotal role in a moment of heightened discomfort and detachment, he shoots the brother, killing him with a single shot. After confirming the death, Meursault inexplicably shoots 4 more times. This seemingly senseless act of violence marks the transition to the second part of the novel, focusing on Meursault's trial. In part 2, Meursault's time in prison is now the focus of the story. Initially he struggles with the loss of his freedom and the abrupt change in his lifestyle. However, he gradually adapts, reaching a point where he finds a sense of contentment from accepting the simplicity and routine of his new daily life. During Meursault's trial, the focus shifts from the murder itself to an examination of his character. The prosecutor emphasizes Meursault's lack of remorse for the murder, connecting it to his indifference towards his mother's death, making him appear even more alien and incomprehensible to others. The court is more interested in his personality than the specifics of his crime. Unable to fully grasp his own wrongdoings or to articulate his emotions, Meursault remains silent, awaiting the verdict of the jury. He is ultimately sentenced to death. In his final moments spent in his jail cell, Meursault comes to a profound realization about life's inherent meaninglessness and the indifference of the universe, understanding that the individual's existence is often defined by the opinions and judgments of others, climaxing to the main narrative of the novel, the absurdity of life. The book famously starts with the sentence, "Today, mother died," or maybe it was yesterday, highlighting from the beginning Meursault's indifference. While this would apply to our Meursault from the company, Project Moon changed a crucial detail in his character promo video.
메르소, 그렇게 불러주겠습니까? 관리자님. 저들은 이해하기가 어렵군. 돈을 잃었다면서 눈물을 흘리고 그런가 하면 극장에 다녀왔다면서 깔깔대고 어떻게든 자신을 드러내려고 한다린 게 아니 입을 움직이는 데 쓴 에너지가 아까울 만큼 쓸모없는 얘기였습니다.
In his promotion video, the sentence was changed to "Today I killed mother," or maybe it was yesterday, a drastic change from the original. Furthermore, during his ego demonstration, Chains of Others, the video is emphasizing the main narrative of the second part of the book, by Meursault telling us about the presumed trial in the Project Moon universe, where the eyes of the jury attendees shined at him, spouting insults and profanities at him while perceiving him as a monster.
고막을 찢을 것만 같은 고성이 피를 사정없이 때려댄다. 왼쪽 2번째 열부터 오른쪽 15번째 열까지 나에게 쏠려있는 눈알들의 시선, 89개의 검지와 86개의 목구멍에서부터 쇄도하는 슬픔, 공포, 혐오, 매도, 각종 감정의 덩어리로 만들어진 질문들이 나의 숨통을 점점 죄운다.
This change recontextualizes Meursault from his book counterpart. The question then arises, why did Meursault presumably kill his mother? In the book, Meursault killed his victim because of the heightened discomfort the son gave to him. Well, in the same promotion video at the end, Meursault says the following.
그저 햇빛이 눈부셨던 것뿐인데.
The sun not only is playing an important role in the book, but also for Limbus Company Meursault. His fighting gloves have Soleil, the sun, engraved on them. Additionally, Meursault's banner also depicts a sun in it. While the murder weapon in the book was a pistol, it is an interesting choice that Project Moon decided to give Meursault gloves as weapons. Going back to Meursault's cold personality, killing his own mother and saying the reason for it being blinded by the sun is quite obscene. In the book, Camus wants to create an unbelievable scene, to highlight the absurdism of life. An absurd situation that still occurred and makes the reasoning for killing the brother look even more unnatural. During the journey through the Inferno, we got our fair share of absurd scenes, especially in the city, where death and oddities are quite prevalent. I propose that the sun that was blinding Meursault is something much more sinister, befitting the city. I would say his blindness and reason to kill his own mother is attributed to N.Corp's main product, its singularity. N.Corp itself is still surrounded by a lot of mystery, and it would take up an entire video to understand its status and role in the city, especially its connection with Herman's group. Instead, let's focus on the question what role N.Corp plays in the murder of Meursault's mother. As can be gathered from Dante's notes, N.Corp is the 14th district and wing of the city, being comprised by two different factions under the name Nail and Hammer. While we have not visited N.Corp yet, from Meursault's character art we can get a glimpse of what the district is like. Surrounded by grey giant skyscrapers, workers with suitcases in hand working towards the entrance of the giant building with the N.Corp logo. It gives a feeling of overwhelming dread, like being one small ant of the ever-turning corporate machine. The colors with its use of black, white and grey makes the world feel monotone and quite depressive. As described by Meursault, N.Corp values experience above everything.
못과 망치, 경험이야말로 가장 중요한 가치란 말하는 날개. 인간은 자신의 가치에 맞는 경험과 행동을 할 수 있도록 정해져 있다.
But what do they mean with experience? Human memory. Both things are intangible, but intangibility has never stopped corporations in their circularities, be it T-Corp harnessing the concept of time, or K-Corp using human suffering to produce HP ampoules. Many districts use human emotions and concepts as fuel for the singularities. But how can N.Corp harness memory? In our journey through the city of Carl, we met one of the subfactions of N.Corp, the Inquisition, led by Chroma, the one who grips. The Inquisitors believe that pain is a necessary part of a human experience, seeing as Chroma values these above everything else, going so far as to hunt down people with prosthetics, and Meursault stating that he was not affiliated with them. It is safe to assume that he worked for the other side of N.Corp. But through her faction we can figure out how experience is being harnessed and how it is used. From the update stories of the N.Corp fanatic IDs, we can pinpoint how the extraction process works. The extraction, at least for this part of the faction, works by injecting the nail, one of the weapons from the Inquisitors, into the body.
왜 진작 말하지 않은 거야? 그럼 당신도 저런 괴상한 무기를 지니고 다녔어?
굳이 이야기할 필요가 있나?
The nail extracts some weird fluid of the body of the human. That is the physical form of the human experience, or rather one's memory. The experience is later used and made ready for consumption. Yes, consumption. N.Corp's main product is so-called canned experience.
이 못이 궁금하시군요. 이것은 N사의 경험 통조림을 만드는 데 쓰입니다. 자세한 사용 방법은 직접 현장을 찾으심이.
With it, one can live through the experience of someone else, or make other people experience one's own worldview. But what does it all mean for Meursault and his Canto? The following is my theory based on the information we have gathered. I believe Meursault was set up to kill his mother by his friend Raymond, who manipulated him through the use of canned experience. In the original novel, while Meursault pulled the trigger, Raymond was the main instigator behind the confrontation that led to the murder. That's why I think Raymond will play a major role in Meursault's Canto. In The Stranger, Raymond is a manipulative friend who drags Meursault into his own conflicts, eventually leading to the murder of the brother. In Limbus Company, I assume that Raymond would be an N.Corp co-employee who played a similar role orchestrating events behind the scenes. Regarding Meursault, one might assume that his emotionless behavior is just part of his character, detached from human emotions and relationships. After all, one of the main points of discussion in the novel is Meursault's behavior and perception of the world around him. While Limbus Company's Meursault mirrors that personality, I believe there is more to it. I suspect that Raymond, either independently or under orders from the higher up in N.Corp, extracted Meursault's experience of humanity and replaced it with canned experience, trying to make him a mindless slave for the corporation. However, despite the removal of emotions, Meursault remained attached to his mother. Even in the brief mention in the Intervallo 3, he seemed to remember her scolding him fondly. I believe this connection to his mother was the main reason she became an obstacle to Raymond's manipulation. disrupting the process of transforming Meursault into an emotionless tool. As we learned from the N.Corp Inquisitors, Cant experience can be used to manipulate people. The sun that overwhelmed him was likely his perception being influenced by the Cant experience. Going back to Meursault's banner, the rays that depict the sun are quite pointy, to the point that one might recognize them as nails. Because of the heightened discomfort and disorientation, I believe Meursault killed his mother. What is left of a human being when their experiences with others, especially family, are erased? A cold machine, operating solely on orders and only speaking when asked, spouting out information and facts as can be seen in multiple occasions during the journey. Returning to the analysis of the color scheme in Meursault's character art, the world around him is colorless. While this design mirrors what we have seen in Canto 4, I believe it should also emphasize the emptiness of his existence within N.Corp. Despite their attempt to create a mindless slave for the corporate machine, their plan is beginning to fail. During the last Cantos, Meursault changed. He grew closer to the Sinners, to the point where, in Canto 6, instead of following company rules, something very important to him, he wanted to help Heathcliff. Meursault started to care for other people, especially the Sinners, a change that only manifested after traveling with the LCB. Even though he killed his mother and has been deemed irredeemable by the jury, I don't think his Canto is a revenge story. Limbus Company gave him a contract so he could free himself from the shackles placed on him by others. Looking at the themes of the original novel, I believe Meursault's journey is about becoming human in a world devoid of logic and full of absurdity, such as the city. It's about learning to make choices not based on rules or orders, but on his own consciousness. If his past actions were influenced by N.Corp's manipulation, stripping him of his emotions and experiences, his current journey might be about recovering those lost aspects of himself.